Hey, how's it going? Brian Bowman here, and I hope you're having an amazing day. And today I want to talk about what you and every billionaire have in common and your biggest untapped resource. Now, I know at this point you're thinking, I know what you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about time, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. And I want to hopefully share a different perspective on time, and if I do my job correctly, really encourage you and motivate you to start taking advantage of this biggest untapped resource that you have. Whether you want to move your business forward or whether you want to move your life forward, whatever you want to do, this is it. The power is in your time. And again, if I do my job correctly, hopefully at the end of this, you'll feel encouraged and motivated to do this. Now, there's one big thing that I want to start with and sort of frame the conversation around, which is when you are hiring or when you're thinking about doing some of the things I'm going to share with you today, you are not buying someone else's time. I want you to stop thinking that you're buying someone else's time and you're simply buying your time back. And that's a huge distinction. I think that if we frame the conversation that way, all of a sudden you're going to start looking for opportunities like, where can I buy my time back so I can allocate this precious resource, right? This thing that I only have so much of, this thing that Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs had the same, Mark Cuban, all billionaires, right? All people who've made a dent in the universe, all people who've really made an impact have had the exact same amount as you, okay? So if you can start thinking about buying your time back, now you've got this resource you can start allocating to the things that are really going to move your life and your business forward. So that's the first thing, is you are not buying someone else's time, you're buying your time back. Now, instead of kind of talking high level, I actually want to share some real examples and then get real strategic towards the end here so you can actually start implementing this stuff and share some of the things that I do in my life and how I buy my time back. So the first thing is I want to use some numbers. I want to use like actual statistics so that way we can frame the conversation. So the first thing is the average American earns just over $61,000 a year. So $61,372 a year. If you break that out by a 40-hour work week, on average, the average American is earning $29.50. Now, you might be higher or lower than that. I will make the argument, I'd have you consider that if you're running your own business, your time is much more valuable than $29.50 an hour because every one of those hours has a huge opportunity cost. If you're not allocating it to your business, there's a massive cost to not allocating it to putting it on anything else and not putting it into your business, all right? So, but let's just say, $29.50 for the example. So the first thing is, we're gonna get really tactical right from the beginning. I wanna know, and let me know if this is the case for you, are you still buying your own groceries? What? I'm serious. Are you still getting in your car after a long day of work or after a hectic day, driving to the store, sitting in traffic, going when everyone else is going, because you're probably not able to go at noon when it's empty, or actually noon is lunchtime. So you're probably not able to go at 10 o'clock when everyone's at work. You're going when everyone else is there, sitting in a ton of human traffic, right? Everyone's in the store, dealing with all the decision-making capital. What things am I going to buy? What am I going to do? We only have so much decision-making capital every day. And are you allocating it to grocery shopping? Are you spending the time switching tasks, right? Going to the store, stopping what you're doing, sitting in traffic, getting frustrated, and going, buying your groceries and coming back home? This is at least 2 hours a week. I would argue it's actually higher. And again, the opportunity cost of switching tasks and doing all these other things is actually costing you a lot more, I believe. It's costing all of us if we're doing this. So if we're talking about 8 hours a month, that's about, if you do the math, at $29.50 an hour, 8 hours a month, that's about $2,832 per year spent going grocery shopping. Or sorry, let me back up. So if we look at a $1,000 bill, the average grocery bill is probably $1,000. Some are higher, some are lower. But the average bill, if you're a normal size family, let's say it's $1,000. If it's higher, it's higher. It's going to cost you, so listen to this, it's going to cost you 5% of that bill to have someone else do all your grocery shopping and bring it to your front door. That's it. If you divide that out by 8 hours a month, so $50, right? $1,000 bill a month, $50, 5%, divide it by eight hours, that's $6.25 an hour. Your time is worth $29.50, right? The average person, I would argue it's worth much more than that. And for $6.25 an hour, you can have someone deliver the groceries to your door so you can allocate that 8 hours to something else. Does that make sense? So if we multiply that out, that's just under $3,000 a year that you're like saving because of those hours that you're not spending on that. And again, there's like so many costs of switching and driving in traffic and thinking about it, decision-making capital, that you could sit in deep work, deep focus, and continue to work on the thing you're working on instead of having to switch tasks. Now let's talk about the big one, TV / Netflix / sitting mindlessly on the internet, okay? The average American is gonna spend 4.4 hours watching TV every single day. Like when I looked that up and I saw that, I was like, that is mind-boggling to me. It's crazy. And even if you're thinking, well, I don't watch TV, well, there's a lot of people that are just surfing the internet, right? Just watching Netflix, doing all these different things that are not the most optimal way to allocate your time, especially if you're trying to move the needle forward and trying to really move the ball forward. So if you look at 4.4 hours every single day, times 365 days, that's 1,606 hours. If you multiply that out by $29.50 an hour, that's over $47,000. $47,377 per year that is being invested into someone's fictional story on TV, someone's feed on social, or some other mindless activity that's not helping us make that dent and actually make our impact that we're here to do, this finite amount of time that we have, and we are spending it on the wrong things. And if you look at the actual financial value of this, I mean, this is a way to get $47,000 back in your pocket. And that's how you have to think about it. It's not, well, but I need to relax. I need to unwind. And I'm going to talk about how I unwind and how I think everyone should unwind, honestly. But think about buying your time back, and that's actual value in your time, okay? So a couple practical things that I would encourage you and have you consider trying is, one, no white space on your calendar, okay? White space is blank spots. I want you to take time every single night to planning out your next day. This is like one of the secrets. These are leverage points. You always want to look for these leverage points. And this is one of the secrets, is the few minutes, 5 minutes spent the night before planning out your next day will save you hours of wasted time and energy, and these white spaces for you to go jump into all this mindless things that won't help you do what you're trying to do, okay? Or help you discover what you're supposed to do or what you want to do. That's the other thing, is you want to allocate all your resources, everything you have, your time, the biggest one you have, to moving your vision forward, whatever vision you have, or finding what that vision is. Leverage compounding insights. We've talked about this, where the deeper you go on things, the more you discover, the more layers you uncover. Simply dabbling in things, you won't get as much insight as if you go deep in an hour, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours in. That's where the real insights start coming out. So allocating all your resources, all your time to discovering your insight or what it is that you want to do, or actually moving that vision forward. Now, I know you're thinking, but what about burnout, right? If I'm putting all this time and I'm not watching TV and I'm not doing groceries and I'm saving all this time, I get it, but you're saying just do nothing but work, right? What about burnout? Well, I share my thoughts on burnout in another episode of Marketing for eCommerce. I think it was episode 52 or 53, so you can go check that out on the site, ecomunderground.com, because I actually don't think burnout is a real thing. I think the symptoms of it are real, but what I believe is if we fuel our body with the 5 essentials we need, air, water, sleep, food, and movement correctly, and we give our body an abundance of the 5 things we need with a mission-driven purpose, you'll have a hard time turning it off. You'll have a hard time allocating any resource, any time to anything else other than that thing you're pushing towards. But check it out. I break down each and kind of how I think about it in the podcast. And then finally, there's probably a thought, well, what about unwinding? Like, I need time. Like, I'm working all day. I need a time to just relax. Well, here's what I'd have you consider do with your time. Instead of binge watching a show and catching up on all the back episodes of something, there's nothing wrong with every once in a while doing that, or catching a game, if you're into sports. But I would encourage you to spend a majority of that time that you've just bought back by just simply not allocating it, right? A little bit that you bought back from your grocery delivery, and a big chunk that you've bought back from just ignoring TV. I have a friend who says, if you're not making $250,000 a year, you shouldn't even have a TV. So take that for what it's worth. But here's what I think you should be doing with your time. You should be reading. And again, this is one of those things like, yeah, I know. But did you know that the average CEO reads 52 books per year? You know, Mark Cuban still to this day spends 3 hours per day reading. Warren Buffett spends, I believe it's 5 to 6 hours a day reading. And the average American reads 1 book per year. And it's probably some fictional novel, which is nothing wrong with that. But start using that time to start fueling your mind, to start fueling your heart and your spirit with the big thing, the big purpose you want. When you read about big dreamers and big achievers, it's going to spark something inside you. It's going to wake you up. Like, man, I've got X amount of time left. I'm going to make the biggest dent I can make. And if it's for your family, if it's for you, whatever it is for, you were put here on this earth for a purpose. And more than anything, the reason I'm sharing this, the reason I'm giving the tactical advice and hopefully giving you other perspective is because I want you to be a part of that change. All of us have a reason we're here. We're part of changing the world. We are world changers. There's something that is in your heart that you're meant to do, but you simply will not be able to fulfill that purpose if your time is being allocated to things other than moving towards that vision, then finding that vision and then being able to execute on it in the time that you've got left. So all I want is success for you. And this right here, hands down, is the number one thing that every successful person implements. I can tell you from experience, I can tell you it's changed my life. And I would have you start considering that everything you do, I want you to be looking around for opportunities to buy your time back. Buy your time so you can create a stockpile of resource that you can put all in full force into the thing that you actually want to move the ball forward on. And again, if you don't know what that thing is, you're going to have a lot more time to discover it by going deep and getting those compounding insights as you do it. So in any case, I hope that helps. And more than anything, I hope you apply it. Appreciate you. Have an amazing, amazing day, and go make your impact and do it with integrity and influence people to do better and leave this place better than we found it. All right. Talk soon. Bye.